Now, there's one certain thing coming out of what happened on September 10th, Charlie Kirk, when he was assassinated by this terrible human being that I don't even want to name anymore. He doesn't deserve the recognition. But one thing about all of this is that we are seeing a lot of those in the media, a lot of those in the film industry, the music industry, many celebrities out there coming out of the woodwork saying terrible things about Charlie Kirk, either mocking him, politicizing what happened, or just outright turning it into a Trump rant and or tirade because of what happened to Charlie Kirk. And this is just the beginning, I feel. I think that things are going to begin to get even worse over time. But one thing that we know about right now has a lot to do with Tom Hanks. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, we already know that Tom Hanks started to politicize everything that happened to Charlie Kirk and really pinned it on President Trump, Trump supporters, MAGA, MAGA this, MAGA that, all this nonsense that is so tiresome and exhausting, coming from all these celebrities like Tom Hanks that people, quite frankly, are just tired of and really just don't even want to support anymore. Now, we know that Tom Hanks, via SNL, via NBC, used that as a platform to mock Trump supporters months ago. I believe it was back in January of this year, correct me if I'm wrong. And however, there's a lot of things going on right now. Tom Hanks is facing numerous consequences as a result of politicizing everything after Charlie Kirk's death. Let's get into this. Now, one thing about Tom Hanks right now is that there's no doubt about it that people are beginning to perceive this actor in a totally different light at this point after he went on multiple tirades about Trump, how he just will never let go of dragging politics into his career as an actor. However, on top of everything here, ever since Charlie Kirk was assassinated on September 10th by a disgraceful evil human being, one significant development going on now involves more to do with how many celebrities are dealing with extensive backlash after politicizing Charlie Kirk's death and or mocking him or lying about him in different ways. Like what Stephen King did, for example. One of which now involves how Tom Hanks is already dealing with consequences as a result, after he politicized Kirk's death by pinning it on President Trump and Trump supporters, and as a result of that, NBC executives recently made a very bold and strong move that was universally agreed upon by the board of directors to cancel Tom Hanks and his future appearances on SNL, where he was set to mock Trump supporters again. It turns out that SNL via NBC with Lorne Michaels, at the forefront, they were all working on a series of new episodes of Trump supporters and appearances of that was going to all be done by Tom Hanks, one of which was planned for the holiday season of this year, specifically for November 22nd of 2025, where Hanks was going to return mocking Trump supporters again. Now, this parody in detail was already pre-written and pre-planned, but delayed due to conflicts earlier on in the year, and was set to debut on that date, as we actually just labeled there. Hanks' appearance was just cancelled because of his comments about the Charlie Kirk situation and how he ultimately politicized it, and already Hanks is said to be furious over the decision and the call coming from the up and up over at NBC, and also how Lorne Michaels was forced to make that call. The second parody of Trump supporters set to air on that date was set to portray Trump supporters as drunk, beer-drinking hillbillies getting pulled over by cops on the road, making racist and misogynistic comments to the officer. NBC executives decided to cancel this entire comedy bit, and another parody of Trump supporters that Hanks was supposed to do that was also canceled because of his views on Trump after Charlie Kirk's assassination was that Hanks was going to play another Trump supporter who was breaking the laws in the countryside, and how comedic jokes would stem from that moving forward. In a panic, NBC pulled the plug on Tom Hanks playing the Trump supporters, and already Hanks, his agent and manager are up in arms about that decision, where Hanks was warning SNL that they are missing out on significant spikes in their ratings by keeping these appearances cancelled. Hanks, as it turns out, was geared to make 4 total appearances on SNL, spanned over 4 months, of course, playing 4 different stereotypes of Trump supporters as SNL saw those stereotypes from their point of view, of course. Now guys, let me just stop right there for one moment. Now, we know one thing about SNL is that, alright, from my point of view at least, let me just say it like this, I don't think that they have been funny in a very long time. They lost their comedic value, I would say, right around 1990-91. So they really haven't been truly funny since the 1980s. I mean, going way back, Belushi, I think, was a great era for SNL, without a doubt. There's no doubt about that. But after the 80s, it really was a slow downward spiral. Once you hit the 2000s, it was a very rapid decline in their overall comedic style, their comedic value. It just sharply declined then, and forget about it in the 2010s. In the 2010s, that's where it really just went into a stagnant state, where it just did not recover. Now, one thing about SNL now in the 2020s, it's all political. It has been all political. Sure, they tried to dial it down a notch because of the 2024 election and when Trump came into office and how there was an obvious mandate there. But one thing about this right now is that it's one thing for NBC to cancel Tom Hanks. It's another thing for them to actually do what's coming up next. We're going to talk about that in just a second. So, get this, alright? On top of everything here, Hanks is already challenging SNL to revert these changes with little to no effect so far. NBC executives and the board are already finalizing these plans as we speak, with immediate rewrites set to take place for another actor to mock Trump supporters instead, which shows the hypocrisy of SNL and NBC. This is strictly centered on kicking out Tom Hanks only after he politicized Kirk's passing onto Trump rants and tirades about MAGA and more. So like I said before, it's one thing to boot out Tom Hanks and to get rid of him from mocking Trump supporters, and this is all coming from after how Tom Hanks politicized the whole Charlie Kirk situation. But it's another thing for them to actually just get another actor instead to do this. And I think it just goes to show you the hypocrisy coming from SNL. I think people are just tired of Trump jokes constantly all the time. You know, especially coming from the celebrities on Tom Hanks' level of status. People are just tired of it all. And I think at the end of the day, when you're looking at SNL, when you're looking at other comedic programs out there, it's time to just get back to maybe making fun of different events besides political events. And I think that's what you have to do at this point to really recover. But one thing is for certain about this is that Tom Hanks, he's not having a very fun time right now. He's firing back at NBC, he's firing back at SNL, specifically Lorne Michaels, and how he was actually forced to make this call by the NBC board, the executives, etc., over there. And overall, I think that you're going to see a major shift happening. I don't think it's going to fully happen, but you're going to see a big enough shift to the point where you're going to have some studios either making hypocritical calls like this, which make no sense, or other studios that have some form of common sense by just knocking it down with the political nonsense. But overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about all this below in the comments. Anything ranging from Tom Hanks to other celebrities out there either mocking Charlie, politicizing Charlie Kirk's death, or just outright lying about this man, which is just disgusting. You know, it's one thing to do that, it's another thing to do it so soon after the man was murdered by a terrible human being. He's not even in the ground yet. That's how terrible it really is. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.